Hey everyone, thanks for joining. Of course, back here with David. Got an interesting video we're going to do, kind of a 2020 recap, go over a lot of the things that have happened this year, accomplishments, kind of tease, of course, leading into 2021. And we wanted to go over this. I know there's a lot of new eyes, especially recently coming and looking at the company, looking at things the company's doing. So wanted David to kind of recap what the past year's been like, even during COVID, and their big accomplishments, and then go from there. But first things first, David, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself, Jason?
Yeah, good, good. No complaints. It's gonna be a weird Christmas coming up, but hey, hopefully an end of 2020. I'm sure everyone's looking forward to that. So things are good. But here, let me throw this to you. So 2020 recap. Maybe do we want to start? Obviously beginning of the year. I know when we initially started, you weren't the CEO, so we could walk through that, and we could kind of mix and throw in some of the things you've accomplished since joining, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So, I mean, obviously 2020 has been a very significant year on a lot of different fronts. But for Global Trac Solutions, we experienced a lot of change. We started the year by pivoting out of the cannabis space and into the psychedelic space, which was a huge shift for the company. So we knew very early on in 2020 that this was going to be a transitional year. And so for me now looking back on it, I'm really encouraged and impressed with what we've been able to accomplish here over the year, knowing that it was going to be difficult. It was going to be a challenge. I mean, anytime you move out of one industry, move into another industry, it's always quite challenging. And then you add in, COVID on top of that. So it's been an interesting year to say the least. But as you know, I came on in July and took over as CEO here of the company. And so since that time, my primary focus and objective has just been to get the company really fully immersed in the space of psychedelics and utilizing Psychedelic Spotlight, our primary digital media platform, as sort of a vehicle, if you will, to actually enter and move Global Trac Solutions into this industry. And I'm really, again, very impressed and encouraged with how we've been able to do that. I definitely got to give a lot of credit to the team that I've got here working with me. I've got some great people on my side. They've played a big role in helping to get the word out there and help Psychedelic Spotlight establish itself here in the space. And proud to say, we've definitely developed it into a prominent and recognized brand and identity here for psychedelics. People know that it's a place they can come for news, information, original content, resources. And so I'm excited to expand upon that going into 2021. And then for me, it's also been about expanding my network here within this space. I feel being able to get into the psychedelic space here as early as we have, it gives us a unique advantage, in my opinion, in that it gives us an opportunity to assess the lay of the land and the landscape here within this space and really identify where does it make sense to plug Global Trac Solutions into. My focus obviously is on building long-term value for my shareholders and for the stakeholders here at Global Trac Solutions. So making sure that the next step here in whatever it is we're going to do that's involved in psychedelics makes sense and that I believe is going to position us to drive that long-term value is very important. And so, again, I'm very pleased with where we are at right now and where we are headed going into 2021. And then on the industry level, psychedelics has really, in my opinion, grown far faster this year than I ever thought it would. And I know that there's other individuals here, in the psychedelic community that I've spoken with, they agree. We all thought that where it is here today maybe wouldn't have been until maybe about a year or two from now. So that's obviously very exciting. And a lot of that has to do with, we saw the couple of wins that it got on Election Day here in the US. That was big. It's also gotten some really good exposure out there in the media, featured on HBO Real Sports, CBS 60 Minutes did a special on it. Mike Tyson came out and touted psychedelics as, helping him get back in the ring. So that all just adds credibility and buzz. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact why here, in the fourth quarter of 2020, we've seen an uptick in interest in the psychedelic space. I think the investment community is finally waking up and recognizing that this is there's something going on here. This isn't a pie in the sky idea. Something's happening here. Things are materializing and coming together. And to be a part of it all right now is it's exciting and really looking forward to what we've got coming up ahead here in 2021. But 2020, to me, we accomplished what we had to. again, repositioning the company, laying the groundwork for going forward here in the psychedelic space. And so I'm quite pleased with where we're at right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'll do my best to obviously sum it up from also, the feedback we've seen, but, my opinion as well. You already touched on, the kind of the sector, right? The industry has moved a lot in 2020, both in recent, just simple legislature being passed, but also in these bigger athletes talking about it, even big celebrities, yeah, Mike Tyson, of course, he just did his little, comeback, charity boxing thing, which was great. Has talked about it openly as well. And a lot of other athletes, of course, talking about psychedelics and their battle and getting them back on track, and just business people together. So it's great. The industry's moved a lot, which is fantastic. And, again, to give you guys credit, for people watching this, you guys started, of course, you kind of you pivot into psychedelics, really become, an industry leader from an educational standpoint. I mean, I know you've been focused, you went from really, and you already chatted, a network that wasn't as psychedelic focused to now, shooting interviews, exclusive podcasts, and a ton of other things with massive people in the space, experts in the space, which has been fantastic.
Right.
Athletes doing exclusive interviews. I know people, if you're listening to this, you've probably already seen some, or at least familiar with Ian McCall. He comes on pretty recently, as it stands. But again, congratulations, you guys turned into, really an educational platform, as the first step of, let people know this is what psychedelics is about. This is where the industry is growing. And I think that's great. You're growing together. Your networks, of course, improving. And that's what you said. Hey, this
Right.
year, if we can do that, we can start building our website. This is success to us. Obviously, we'll tease 2021. Revenue generating stuff, of course, is always on the path. But I think you guys are well on your way. And congratulations
Yeah.
for a pretty good.
And I think, yeah, thank you. And I think to add just a little bit on that too, I know a lot of people out there sometimes question, well, why, you guys are a digital media platform. You guys are interviewing different people. How does that matter? How does that tie into the big picture? How does that lead to monetization opportunities? And what I like to come back with on that is it's networking. And in a year where we haven't had the opportunity to get out there and attend conferences, I have made the most and leveraged the digital media platform that we have with Psychedelic Spotlight to get out there and network on a digital platform in a digital manner here. And for me, it's been about connecting with other individuals, understanding who's who in this space to really assess what opportunities are out there. Because again, to me, this is about where does Global Trac Solutions fit in terms of the big picture here of psychedelics and everything going forward. And for me, being able to communicate and interview these people and hear their stories and what they're involved in here in the psychedelic space, it's allowed me to really sit back and sort of assess the situation, assess the landscape of the industry so that I can now make a decision, okay, this is who I want us to evolve into. And again, I'm encouraged with all the opportunities that are out there and the ones that we've been presented with. But again, at the end of the day, this is about what makes the most sense. We're not in this for the short term. When we went out and we applied for and successfully changed our ticker symbol to PSYC, to me, that was a message to the investment community that Global Trac Solutions is in fact in this for the long haul. We want to be a psychedelic company. That's who we want to brand ourselves as and who we want to be recognized as here in this space, because we intend to be in this for the long haul. And so again, to anybody out there that maybe questions, why, the interviews and all that, it's brought a lot of value. I think maybe things that people don't see on the surface, but behind the scenes, it's brought tremendous value to us here.
Yeah, I mean, between us, of course, and things we've talked about off camera, I'd love to say, on your behalf, of course, you doing these interviews makes talking to other people that much easier. You look that much more real. Oh, yeah, I've actually seen your interview. Oh, I've heard about you. Let's chat. Now it's not just a cold outreach, over LinkedIn. Hey, how are you? It's oh, wow, yeah, I'm familiar. Cool, let's chat. So I think that's been amazing. Do you want to give people a little taste on, where, of course, there really wasn't a website, halfway through this year to where you guys are now, what stage of the website's at, and, give people an idea of, what happened, Psychedelic Spotlight, from, where it started to where it is now. And of course, we can tease things coming in 2021, but not too much because we will do a side video on it.
Right, right. Yeah, no, most definitely. So we're actually in the process right now of going through a full redevelopment of Psychedelic Spotlight. So the website that I inherited from my predecessor here, it looked great. You know, it had some really cool snazzy features to it, but it really wasn't built with SEO optimization in mind. And you know, that to me is very important, especially if we are trying to become the most prominent and recognized resource and platform out there in the psychedelic space. So now what I've been focused on here is on working with our digital marketing agency, Sun City Advising, and completely redeveloping Psychedelic Spotlight so that we take SEO optimization to the absolute max. Because what I want, Jason, is anytime anybody's out there, now that you got a lot of people starting to explore psychedelics, anytime anybody goes out there and says, what is psilocybin? What are magic mushrooms? What is ketamine? How does ketamine therapy work? I want Psychedelic Spotlight to be right up there at the top of that search bar. I want us to come up, and I want us to be the ones that are actually providing that information and then connecting people to other resources and other places throughout the industry. And for that to happen, we have to be able to redevelop the whole back end of our website. And so that's what we're focused on. And it's also going to allow us to build out a lot of really important resources and other components into the site that are just going to add value. Because when I say that I want us to be the most prominent website in the psychedelic space, I absolutely mean it. And this is how you do it. And so I'm excited. You know, I think in the next couple of weeks here, we're going to be able to roll out the new website. It's also going to have, you know, some new features, a new look to it. So I'm really looking forward to being able to do that. But again, this is all about growth. This is all about, you know, looking ahead, how we can expand upon what we've got. Again, we've developed Psychedelic Spotlight into a recognized brand here in the space, to the point where we've got people coming to us now saying, hey, you know, how do I get on your podcast? Or, you know, how can you guys do an editorial about my company? And that to me tells me, you know, we're doing something right. We're getting the word out and people are recognizing it.
Yeah. No, and I think that's awesome. Look, that's a great way to kind of spin the video, and I think you added a lot of great points in there. You know, you already mentioned growth, and of course, I know we've done videos talking about growth. You know, whether that's growing through other people's following, also growing your own, having exclusive content, bringing people to the website. There's been a lot of others. You know, if you want to take 30 seconds to go over what those might be, and then we can just wrap things up. But throw it to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, you know, again, you know, we demonstrated that we've connected with some of the top leaders here in this space, you know, whether that's, you know, Ronan Levy from Field Trip, you know, we've also had Ian McCall, got a couple of other really cool ones coming up, which I'm really excited to be able to feature. And again, this opens these conversations. Yes, we're speaking with these people to hear about their stories, but then this is also an opportunity to assess, okay, who's who? How do we, you know, how can we develop solutions here that maybe can help Field Trip, or can maybe help retired professional sports athletes that are out there seeking help from psychedelic healing? That's what that does. It opens the doors to those conversations and those opportunities for us to, again, sort of gauge and assess where we can fit in. And again, I've tried to leverage that as much as possible. And I am confident that, you know, what we have coming up here in the next couple of months is going to be able to demonstrate just that.
Yeah. No, and look, I think you guys again had an amazing, you know, really half of 2020 since you joined. So congratulations there. Now I really want to stress we've been getting a lot of feedback, a lot of good feedback. You know, for those of you that made it to this point of the video, definitely, if you have questions, drop it below. I want to do a Q&A before the end of the year. You know, we're starting to make a list. So if you want it to be featured, we will definitely try and squeeze anything in, and anything we don't get to, I'll make sure David gets a response and we send it over. So again, thanks everyone who made it this far. You know, it's been a crazy 2020 for psychedelics as well as Global Trac. So again, David, congratulations. Anything you wanted to say before we close things off?
Yeah, no, just the other thing too that, you know, I'm excited to be able to announce here over the next couple of weeks is the formation of an advisory board. Again, this goes back to the networking that I've been able to accomplish here through Psychedelic Spotlight and meeting other individuals here in the space that share our vision, that share our passion. So being able to bring them on and leverage their expertise. We've got individuals that have extensive background and experience coming on in the science field, in the medical field, also in the direct treatment of psychedelic medicine. And so they're going to play a pretty integral role here, at least that's my intent going forward, in this next phase of growth that I intend here for Psychedelic Spotlight and Global Trac Solutions going into 2021, and being able to have and surround myself with individuals, again, with this knowledge and expertise, is really important. And I think it just, again, that demonstrates that, yes, we are, digital media platform, but we have far more ambitious goals and objectives for our growth here within this industry. And bringing on individuals like this, in my opinion, it's going to help, sort of set ourselves up for that growth.
Hey, for anyone who had questions about credibility, I think, here they come. Here come the answers. So again, that's awesome. A good little teaser. We'll definitely have to do a video, maybe even with some of these advisors coming forward. So that's great.
Yeah.
David, thanks so much for joining. Again, we'll do a 2021 kind of goals, plans, and hopes, I guess, for coming up for our next video. But thanks, David, again.
My pleasure, Jason. Thank you.